Bonjour. Today's lesson is about être in the plural. Être au pluriel. So we've discussed the singular forms, je suis, tu es, il est, elle est. Now we're going to be talking about the plural forms, and you'll see what that looks like. Okay, here is our next subject pronoun. We have nous. Nous you use to refer to yourself and another person or other people. So it means we. Nous sommes amis. We are friends. Nous sommes amis. Okay, next we have vous. Vous, we've seen a couple of different times before, and you're going to use vous when you're talking to two or more people. So she's saying to both of these people, vous êtes amusant. You're funny. Okay, so vous means you all. So up until this point, you've seen two different words for you. We've seen tu and we've seen vous. Remember that tu is going to be used more for if you're talking to a friend. Okay, vous, or we should say one friend. Okay, one person. Vous is going to be used if you're talking to more than one person. Or to someone formally. So if you're speaking to a teacher, for example, even if you're just speaking to one teacher, you're going to use vous instead of tu. Okay, we're almost done. Next we have il. Now please note that this is pronounced the same way as the singular, he, okay, because we don't pronounce the S at the end. So il and il pronounce the same way. So we're going to use il, I-L-S, when referring to two or more males or to a group of males and females. So we have two different pictures here. Here, these two ladies are talking about these two boys over here. And they're saying, ils sont sympas. They are nice. Okay? And here, she's talking about this whole group of people. Note, we have one guy and we have two girls, but because there's one guy in the mix, you have to use the masculine. So, ils sont sympas. Okay, we'll see what the feminine looks like next. Okay, so the feminine is elle. And just like il singular and il plural are pronounced the same way, elle plural and elle singular are pronounced the same way because we aren't pronouncing that S. So elle and elle. Now here, you're going to use elle when you're referring to two or more females. So the ELLES is only used for groups of girls. If you have 20 girls that you're talking about, you're going to use elle. But if you have 20 girls that you're talking about and there's one guy in that group, you're going to use il, I-L-S. Okay? So here they're talking about these two girls and they're saying elles sont copines. They're friends. Elles sont copines. So here we have the verb être. And you've seen part of être before, this part on the left side, the je suis, tu es, il est, elle est. Right? That's the first half. Those are all singular forms. I am, you are, he is, she is. We're only talking about one person in those four instances. Now on the right-hand side of the chart, we're talking about almost always more than one person. So we have nous sommes means we are. We are. Vous êtes means you are, but it's referring to more than one person. So if I'm talking to the class, for example, I'm speaking to everyone in the class, I would use the vous form. Vous êtes. And you'll hear this little liaison, the S. The sound of the S goes on to the sound of the E. Vous êtes. Lastly, we have ils sont and elles sont. And the il and elle mean they. So either way, it means they are. Il is going to refer to a group of either males or a mixed group of males and females. The L plural is only used if you're talking about a group of girls. So even if you have a room of 100 girls and there's one boy in there, you're going to use il. And it's just the way it works. And you do not pronounce the S at the end. Remember, S's are not pronounced at the end of the word. So il and il are pronounced the same. El and L are pronounced the same. And we can tell who we're talking about because of the verb that comes after. If we're talking about he or she, we'll hear a. If we're talking about they, then we'll hear sont. We can also ask, vous êtes d'où? And that also means where are you from? It's either going to be a question directed at many people or a question directed at one person, but who you would speak to formally. Okay, so if you're responding for a group and yourself, you're going to respond with nous, we. So nous sommes de Portland. Nous sommes, we are. Nous sommes de Portland. We are from Portland. Okay, but you could respond with je suis de Seattle. I am from Seattle if vous is referring to a person formally. And if we want to know where they're from, ils sont d'où? Ils sont d'où? Where are they from? Ils sont. Ils sont d'Annapolis. They are from Annapolis. Okay, and here I wanted to use a city name that started with a vowel because if it starts with a vowel, the D, E, like we saw in de Newburgh, de Portland, is going to change to D apostrophe like we have in do, okay? So, ils sont d'Annapolis, and that is because this starts with a vowel. We don't want the weird sound de Annapolis. Okay, it creates what's called a glottal stop, and the French don't like that sound, where it's two vowel sounds right next to each other. So they remove that E, okay, and they just add an apostrophe. Ils sont d'Annapolis. And here are just a few examples of using these kinds of sentences in the negative. So we have, vous n'êtes pas américain. Vous n'êtes pas américain. You're not American. So here we're talking about more than one person. We're asking them, you are not American? So the ne has contracted with et because it starts with a vowel sound. Okay? So it becomes vous n'êtes pas, vous n'êtes pas, vous n'êtes pas américain. And then remember, américain is going to change to agree with the plural form. So vous in this case is plural because you're speaking to more than one person. So you're going to add an S. Okay? There could be a time when you wouldn't add an S, and again, you're not going to hear the difference, but you only see it. If you're speaking to someone formally, you would not add the S because then you're just speaking to one person. The second sentence, elles ne sont pas énergiques. Elles ne sont pas énergiques. So we have the ne and the pas around the verb. And again, we've added an S because we're talking about more than one person. Nous ne sommes pas forts en maths. Nous ne sommes pas forts en maths. This means we're not strong in math. Okay? So we have ne and pas around our verb. And then our adjective, again, we're talking about more than one person, has to have an S on it. Now, we know that this happens to be either a mixed group or a group of all males because there's no E in here. If you were talking as a group of girls, if you were saying we are not strong in math, then you would write forte with an ES. Okay, so this is the masculine or mixed form. Okay, that's all we have for this lesson. I'm going to tell you bonne chance. Okay, and be ready to identify all those different subject pronouns. Je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, elle. Okay.